Hey there, yoga people. This is Stephen Cheng coming to you live from Simha Yoga Lab in Jersey City, New Jersey. Please visit my website, simhayoga.com, for the full streaming schedule, as well as my payment information for Venmo and for PayPal. Venmo is my preferred way of payment, and my handle is Simha Yoga Lab. And if you're prompted for a 4-digit ID code, the number is 8096. Classes are $10, and if you're having a difficult time right now, $5 is fine. Please do the best you can. I'm streaming on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'm also uploading those same videos to my YouTube channel, Simha Yoga Lab. Please visit any of those platforms for practice at any time. Kindly share with your friends and let people know classes are happening, and maybe even team up with a friend and practice together, whether remotely or together, right? Your word of mouth is greatly appreciated, so please share. Today's class is basics. It is a level 1 practice. For those of you who are new to my practice, welcome. If you're working with injuries, special conditions or limitations, please be mindful that if I'm working a little bit out of your range, pull back. Modify if you know how to modify, or skip the poses altogether if they just don't work for you, right? This is your time to discover what movements are appropriate for you, especially if you're working with any kind of conditions, right? Otherwise, this is a pretty mellow, basic practice. It's a foundational practice for those of you who are just kind of looking for something a little bit slower paced, a little bit more mellow. Okay, for those of you with tight hips, tight lower back, I highly recommend elevation. Sitting up on a block, sitting up on a blanket is quite helpful for those of you who find it a little bit difficult because of tightness around the hips and lower back, which forces you to round your back, right? So this is where, how actually you can make it a little bit more accessible for you to sit up tall and comfortably. Palms face up, and the fingers come together mudra from an index fingers touching. Settling into your seat, ground evenly, let your shoulders broaden and the lips touch. And start to regulate your breath by breathing only through your nose. And let your inhales even out with your exhales. Three arms together, inhale. Keeping the eyes closed, hands together in prayer in front of the heart, pressing your thumbs into your heart, heart back into the thumbs, lifting the heart up toward the sky, setting your intention for your yoga practice, devoting your practice to someone or something, or to yourself, your supreme self that lives within your heart. Chanting the mantra for purification, purifying the space in which you practice yoga. Call and response. Om Pavitraha, Om Pavitraha, Pavitrawa, Pavitrawa, Sarva Vrishtan, Sarva Vrishtan, Gato Piwa, Yaha Smari, Pundrikaksham, Sabahya, Vihyandraha, Suchihi. Beginning to open the eyes, palms face up, and fingers come back to Dhyana Mudra. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, right ear to the right shoulder, right hand to the left side. Elongate through the left side of the neck. And chin toward the right shoulder. Release back to center, drop the right hand. Left ear to the left shoulder, left hand to the right side. And the chin toward the left shoulder. Release back to center. Drop left hand, chin toward the chest. Big circles with the head in one direction. Ear to one side, roll it back. Opposite side, roll it center. A few more rounds at your own pace. And take the chin back to center, pause, and then take in the opposite direction. Back to center again. Lift the chin parallel to the floor and lift your spine, coming off your blocks. Extend the legs forward, separating your feet. Hands are supporting to either side and turn your toes toward each other, and then roll out. Draw in, roll out, draw in, outer rotation, circling. Back to center, switch them around. Back to center again, cross your shins, opposite shin on top. So this is the other crossing of the legs. Take the arms up high, extend, twist to the right on the exhale. Let's check your alignment. Look down past your torso. Make sure you're pretty vertical with your spine, and then lift the chin to parallel the floor so you're pretty neutral, and then see if you can rotate a little bit more deeply, and maybe even look past your right shoulder behind you. Inhale, take it back to center, arms up. Exhale, twist to the other side. Left hand behind you, right hand to your left knee. Lengthen your spine, look down to make sure you're vertical. Take the chin to parallel the floor in neutral position, and then twist a little bit deeper. Inhale, back to center, arms up. Exhale, side bends, right hand to the floor, left arm overhead. Take it back up, other side. Back to center again, legs forward, forward fold. Grabbing your feet, ankles, or your shins. And gently take it back up. Swing the legs back behind you. Let's come to your hands and knees. So your hands are about shoulders width, fingers widespread. Middle fingers or index fingers point straight forward. Line up your shoulders over your wrists. So you want vertical arms. Then your knees are about hips width. So let's say it's about 1/5 distance between your knees. All right? And then your knees and your hips should line up vertically. I like to tuck the toes under for additional support. So this is hands and knees. Let's take some cat-cows. Draw the navel down. Raise your tail, raise the back and head. And this is the arching of your spine. This is the back bend. On the exhale, round the spine. Dome the middle of the back up toward the sky, chin toward the chest, and then your tail tucks toward the heels. Inhale, draw the navel down. Raise your tail, raise the back of the head. Cow pose, arching of the spine. Exhale, round the spine, chin toward the chest, middle back up toward the sky, cat pose. This is a forward fold. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Come back to neutral spine. Keep your left toes tucked under and reach your right foot behind you. Once you have the foot firmly planted, reach back through the heel so you get a really nice extension through the right calf. Now this is good, stay here. For those of you who are stronger, want a little bit more of this pose, pick up the left knee. So now your arms are bearing a little bit more weight. All right, take the left knee back down and take the right knee down as well. Remeasure for your hands and knees and then switch sides. Step the left foot back and then reach back through that left heel. So maybe even the body shifts back just a little bit. All right, so if this is good, stay here or pick up your right knee. All right, so now you're getting a little bit more work into your arms and your shoulders, maybe even a little bit of core, depending on how you're bearing your weight. All right, take your right knee back down, take the left knee down as well. Untuck the toes, walk your hands back, and sit on your heels. With your toes pointed, sitting back, you're getting a nice quad stretch. You're getting a nice shin stretch on top of the ankle. All right? Now, if you want to lean back, take your hands to the floor, lean back. So first think one flat line, right, at a slight decline, right? Then lift the chest, broaden your shoulders, and maybe even take the head back slightly. Start to lift the head back up, looking forward, and then take the action out of your shoulders, and then start to walk your hands forward. Untuck the toes. Sorry, tuck the toes. Right? Pick up the feet, tuck your toes under, and then press the toes down. Now reach back through the seat by pressing into your hands. So now you have tucked toes, right? So now you're creating flexibility into your toes. You're stretching your feet, opening up the arches. Right? And depending on your flexibility, if you're pressing strongly into the floor and the seat toward the heels, you might even feel some stretch to your lower back. All right, press into your hands, shift forward a little bit, lift the knees, and then walk your feet back to down dog. All right, so as you walk your feet back a little bit, the heels are reaching toward the floor. They never actually touch down all the way. You always want a little bit of space. Also, if your hamstrings are tight, you can keep a slight bending of the knees. Press strongly into your hands and then shift your weight back toward your heels, right? So rather than the shoulders going forward, if you press into your hands and shift the shoulders back, you're going to get a lot more flexibility into your shoulders. You can always keep a slight bending of the knees if your hamstrings are tight. If your hamstrings are pretty flexible and you can lengthen all the way, now if you reach your heels down as you lengthen out the legs, you're getting also a lot more into your calves. All right, let's start to release. Walk your feet forward toward your hands. Now separate your feet about mat width distance. Keep a slight bending of the knees. Maybe you feel like your belly is making contact with the top of the thighs. Now with your hands supporting, lift the back of the head and the upper back. So think a straighter spine and activity through your mid and upper back. Now with that lengthiness, start to think about folding forward and let the head release. Once you have that, maybe if you have more mobility into your hamstrings, perhaps you can lengthen out the legs a little bit more and let the head get even heavier and just release forward. Now, if you're feeling pretty steady here, you can grab opposite elbows. Go ahead and grab opposite elbows and dangle forward. Now, release your arms and switch arm positions and take the other arm on top, the other forearm on top. So this is your non-dominant crossing of the arms. Right? It might even feel kind of awkward, right? All right, releasing your hands with your hands supporting. Now, to come out safely out of the standing forward fold is a very methodical way of doing it, right? So take the gaze to the floor, and then bend at the knees, let the seat drop a little bit. Press into your hands and lift the head and the upper back. Right? So now your spine is much straighter, much more neutral, right? So shift your weight back toward the heels. And then as you come up, lift the upper back, use the strength of the legs, carry your torso up into standing position, coming into Tadasana, standing mountain pose. Walk your feet in together. Right? So as you come into standing position, check this out, right? So rather than rounding of the spine to come up in this way, if your back is rather weakened, right, this could be kind of vulnerable for your lower back. However, if you bend at the knees, right, which lowers your seat, makes it easier for you to stand up, and you lift the head and the upper back, now you're engaging the upper back, right, to hold everything in place so that when you shift back, already the weight drawing back is going to make the torso lighter. When you come up and use the strength of the legs, your legs are so strong, right? So if you have any kind of potential lower back issues, right, if you use the legs to carry you up, then it makes you come up through the transition into standing position, right, in a much safer way of coming up. So rather than using your lower back in a rounded spine position, right, engage your spine, your torso, all the muscles around the spine, engage and lengthen, right? Then shifting back, using gravity, right? Using physics, right? And then using the strength of the legs, the physicality of the legs to carry the weight of your torso up. So it's a much safer way of coming out of a standing forward fold, right? Or a forward folding position. So later on when we come into other poses, I will walk you through it again so that you can always practice coming out of any standing forward bend safely by using your legs. All right, so standing tall, right? So you're facing forward. I'm going to face you. Reach the arms out and up. Exhale, side bend to the right. So reach with your left fingertips up and to the side. Reach with your right fingertips down. That will give you extension, right? And that will activate the muscles. Inhale, take it back to center and switch directions. Right arm reaching up and to the left, left fingertips reaching down. So this will give you rather nice extension through the right side. Inhale, come up, raise both arms, and then reaching your fingertips up and slightly back. Even maybe feel like you're tilting the upper torso back. Find that mid and upper back bend. Come back to vertical. Stepping on the left foot. Pick up the right knee, and let's balance here. Now, reaching the arms up is tough for your shoulders right now. You can reach your arms out, or you can reach your arms forward. That'll be easier for your shoulders. Also, if you're not working super strong this way, you can now emphasize the balance, right, rather than the arms. Right? However, if you like the arms reaching up for strengthening and flexibility, then keep the arms up. You're still just balancing here. Now, keep the gaze at any fixed point to the floor. Right? Using your eyesight, using your focus to help you to balance. All right, start to release and walk it out side to side. Come back to center. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. This time, bend your right elbow. Take the left hand to your right elbow and side bend to your left. So you're getting the right side stretch first. And so just changing the leading side. Inhale, come back to center. Extend and then bend your left elbow, right hand to your left elbow and side bending to the right. So a little bit of applied pressure to your left elbow gives you more stretch through that left side. Come back to center, arms up, and again, keep the arms reaching up and stepping on the right foot. Pick up the left knee. Keep the gaze at any fixed point and start to balance here. Right, so you might experience that once you start to hold, right, maybe initially it's pretty steady. But once you get a few breaths in, sometimes you start to sway a little bit, right? So if that's the case, it's okay. Just keep working on stabilizing. Right? So even within balance, right, there's a little bit of movement, or maybe in your case, it could be a lot of movement. That's okay. And especially if you're just learning to balance now, right? One-footed. Start to release, and then walk it out side to side. All right, come back to standing position. Stepping on the left foot. Reach your right foot forward, flex your right foot, and press your heel to the floor. Once you have the heel to the floor, actively pull the toes back. So the more you pull your toes back, the more stretch you get to the back of the right leg, particularly in the calves. All right, and then again, you can extend the arms outwardly. Right? So by engaging arms, extending out, it really helps you through this extension to find stability. Keep your arms, lift the foot, bend your right knee, point the toes back. Press the top of the toes to the floor. I'll give you a side view here. Press the top of the toes to the floor and lean the hips slightly forward, and that will give you better extension through the front of the leg. Now, if you want to take a gaze to look up, right, that might feel really nice to stretch the front of the right leg and with the back bend. The arms again, reaching out, gives you extension, and with extension, you'll get more stability. All right, start to release, step the right foot down, walk it out side to side. This time I'll give you a side view. All right, come back to Tadasana, standing mountain pose. Stepping on the right foot, pick up the left. Reach left heel down, pressing your heel down, flex your left foot. Really strongly pull the toes back. And then again, reaching the arms out with the arms in extension. You're going to find a lot more stability. Pick up the right foot, pick up the left foot, bend your left knee. Point the toes back, press the top of the left toes to the floor. As you lengthen, lean the hips slightly forward, keep the gaze up, lean the upper torso back. And start to release, step the left foot down and walk it out side to side. All right, so come back to center. Stepping on the left foot, pick up the right. Step the right foot out a little bit now. So that means for you, you're going to step off the mat a little bit. Right? Then keeping your left foot on the floor, bend your right knee. Right? You can support the hands to top of the thighs. And reach your tail back, crown of the head forward. So if you tend to round the spine, right, and hunch like this, I want you to think about lifting the chest, lifting the back of the head, and then maybe even feeling like you're broadening your shoulders a little bit, right? Press your hands into your thighs and lean over towards the right. So I'll give you a front view here, right? So you're standing, stepping over to your right. Let's say that's about 2.5 feet. Bend your right knee. So if you're taller, it might be 3, right? Hands on top of the thighs. Bend your right knee. Lean weight into your right leg. Now, if you tend to round the spine, I want you to think about lifting the chest and broadening your shoulders. And that means drawing your shoulders slightly back. Right? So if you're holding this by now, your right quads, right, should be beginning to fire up. Right? Also, with this bent knee position, you're also working the muscles around your knees. So if you tend to have weak knees, right? This is a very stable way for you to activate the muscles in the quads and around the knees to stabilize and strengthen the knees. All right, come back up, step onto left foot, and walk back to center. All right, so also notice, stepping on the left foot, it's not keeping the left leg extended and shifting. Bending the knee, keeping the knees slightly buoyant by bending at the knees. That will help you, right, by shortening the leg to pick up the other foot. Right? So there are many biomechanical ways to work into movement, right? So stepping to the left, same thing. When you step onto the right foot, you can keep a slight bending of the knee so that when you step out, you're not locking into the knee, right? If you're locking into the knee and you put, right, pressure down, that locking of the knee and that pressure could possibly lock your knees, right? Which is not a fun thing to do. So always by keeping the knees slightly buoyant, right? Rather than locking. Locking is really not good for your joints at all. So when you take movement, keep a slight bend and that will keep you safe. So from the standing position, step on the left foot. Then as you shift the weight onto your left foot, lengthen out the right leg. Take the hands to top of the thighs. And then press weight onto your heel, hands onto your thighs, and then once you have the support, think about coming out of the roundedness by lifting the upper back by broadening the shoulders a little bit. All right, so already, just a short period of time, my left quads are firing up. The muscles around the knees are also beginning to activate. And I'm getting some nice mild stretch to the inner right thigh, and that's quite nice. Right? But all the actions right here. So also remember, if you're lifting and you're broadening, there's also a lot of action in the upper back as well, mid-back. All right, start to lift back up. Right? Bend your right knee. Just step it back to center and then walk it out side to side. So I'll give you a side view here again, front view here again. No, side view, I'm looking forward. All right, so bend the knees again. Step the right foot out. But this time, turn the toes out to the right and then lengthen. Right? So Step the right foot out, lengthen the left leg. Stay on the left heel so that you are flexing your foot. And again, by flexing your foot, you're working the back of that right leg, activating your shins as well as your calves, and you're activating the quads. Right? Then, right hand support, left arm up, and lean it over to the right. So you're getting a left side stretch. You're standing strong on the left leg, and you're activating your right leg, working into your strength of the quads, the shins, and the calves. Take it back up to come out of the pose. Bend your left knee a little bit. Step it back in. All right, walk it out side to side. And second side. Bend the knees a little bit. Stepping on the right foot. Step the left foot out. All right, so that's maybe about 1.5 feet. Right? Again, if you're taller, it might be 2 feet. Then strengthen the right leg by standing tall and strong on that leg. Flex your left foot strongly by pulling your toes back actively. So right away, you should feel your left shin, the calves, and the quads strongly activating. Then support with your left hand to left leg, and raise your right arm up, and as you tilt over to your left side, keep your left arm supporting. And extending through the right fingertips. Take it back up to center. So again, bending both knees, just step the left foot in. Walk it out, side to side. Take the hands, walk your feet in together. Take the hands to the waist. Draw the elbows back in space. When you draw the elbows back in space, you're broadening your chest. As you broaden your chest, think about your shoulder blades kissing toward each other. So draw the elbows back, broaden your chest, kiss your shoulder blades together. Right? And this activates your upper back. Lift the sternum, your heart center, up and back, gently looking up. Now, if you have more mobility and you feel like you can broaden your chest a little bit more, draw the elbows more actively toward each other. Lift the heart up even higher and back, up and back. So this is a back bend and activating your upper back. Right, so the purpose of this, come back to neutral. Right? So release your arms and just take a breath here and release your shoulders a little bit. The purpose of this is to go in the opposite direction of this. What is this? You're looking at your phone. You're reading a book. You're sitting on your couch, rounded back. You sitting on front of a computer, right? So this is so much of what we do every day. This is the opposite, right? So this takes the back bend, which is the opposite of hunching forward, a forward bend, right? So we do so much of this these days, and we need actually more of this, right? So that was a mild version of this. Take the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Right? So make note which thumb went on top. Because without you thinking and you interlace, that is your dominant side. What I'm going to ask you then to do is to switch the other thumb and your non-dominant side. Immediately you're going to feel how weird or how unfamiliar and awkward that is. That's because it's the non-dominant side. Consider something as small as this could feel so strange, right? That gives you an idea of how asymmetrical we could be because we always go with habitual movements, right? Movement patterns. All right, so wrapping your hands back behind you, interlace. Broaden your shoulders. Reach your knuckles away from you. Now, if it's difficult for you to keep your arms extended and reach your knuckles away, that's okay. Then bend the elbows and then reach your elbows and your knuckles away. Notice how that broadens your chest, and then you're going to add that back bend. Right? Notice how much more intense this could be. And come back to neutral. Release your hands, maybe, move your shoulders around a little bit, maybe circles forward, circles back, and that will help you neutralize your shoulders a little bit, especially, right, if you tend to round your shoulders a lot, and you do this hunchback thing a lot, and you don't do any of the opposite movement, it's a very strange movement pattern for your shoulders and your arms, right? So even if you hold it for a little bit, it could be quite rigorous, right? For those muscle groups, because they're weakened, right? All right, so let's take the opposite thumb on top. So think about which is the opposite thumb on top. Now, if you can't figure it out, just do it without thinking. And it should feel pretty natural. Once that is the case, then you switch all your fingers and take the other thumb on top. And then once you interlace fully, you should feel how strange that is and how awkward that is. This is your non-dominant side. Okay? So broaden your shoulders. If you need to bend your elbows, bend your elbows. If you can fully extend your arms, extend. Reach your knuckles away from you. Lift the heart center up and lean the upper torso back. Right? If you have more mobility, more flexibility, maybe start to look up and take it further back. And let's start to take it back up again. Release your arms. Move your shoulders a little bit again. All right? So come back to Tadasana. Now, for those of you that feel this is not very stable for you with your feet together, right? Because unless you have the discipline of standing with your feet together a lot, this is not very stable for a lot of people. So if that's the case, let your feet separate a little bit for now so you can find more balance in how you stand. I want you to be balanced right now. We can work on building this whole thing as we continue to practice, all right? So balancing, if you need it here, otherwise, feet together. Reach your arms forward. Take the right hand to your left shoulder. Take the left hand to your right elbow and gently pulling toward the left. So as you pull the elbow toward the left, right, your right outer shoulder should feel a lot of stretch. Your outer right arm should feel a lot of stretch. Right? So for those of you who are very flexible, maybe you don't feel a lot. That's okay. Just keep going until you hit your max. For those of you who have tight shoulders, maybe just even a little bit of movement, you can really feel the difference, right? So whatever that is, just gently pull and encourage more and more movement of the elbow to the left side. And that should give you more stretch to your right shoulder. All right, start to release that. Reach your right hand forward, flip the palm. Reach your right arm up, and then bend your right elbow. Okay, so, yeah. Reach your right arm up and bend your right elbow. Once you have that, the fingertips are reaching down. With your left hand, grab the underside of your right elbow, and then gently pull it back in space. And this is going to open up the underside of the shoulder joints, give you more space through the ribs, give you more space through your tricep and your bicep. Now, do the best you can about the rib cage lifting, right? And kind of breaking here and overexpanding, right? So this is a very subtle movement for most of us who don't have a good amount of discipline on how to, what we call, knit this in, right? Keep it kind of enclosed to find that openness, right? If it's difficult for you right now to keep this stable, then okay, for now, if you need to really arch back and expand there, that's okay. And start to release. Raise your right arm up and release your arms. Take your hands into fist and then roll the fists outwardly. So you're going into shoulder rotation. And then roll the shoulders, the fists in for inner rotation. Roll the fists out. Roll them in. Roll out. Roll in. Come back to neutral. Extend the arms forward. Palms are facing down. This time, take the left hand to your right shoulder. And the right hand, lift the palm up, and then take the right hand to your left elbow. And then gently pulling the elbow toward the right side. So the more you pull the left elbow to the right side, the more stretch you get to the outer left arm, outer left shoulder. Right? This is particularly good for those of you who have tight shoulders, for whatever reasons, right? Whether you are very sedentary in your life, or you carry a lot of weight into your arms and into your shoulders, you're constantly just engaging, right? And that creates tightness too when you overly engage all the time. All right, release, reach your left hand forward, flip the palm up, reach your left arm, up and back behind you as you bend your left elbow, your left fingertips are reaching down, the right hand is pulling to the underside of your left elbow, and then creating, encouraging more openness into the underside of the arms, into the armpits, into the ribs. Again, if you can, try to control the spread of your rib cage. Try not to overspread and overarch, but instead think about containing that spread. But instead, extend through the arm and reaching back through the movement into your shoulders instead of overspreading the ribs, right? It's a subtle movement. If you can't quite get it now, that's okay. And start to release. Extend the left arm up, extend the right arm up, and slowly release. And again, this time, rather than taking fists, you're going to keep the fingers wide spread. You're going to roll the palms forward and out, so you're going into shoulder rotation, and then roll the palms in. Roll the palms out. Roll the palms in. Roll out. Roll in. Okay, release. All right, so stepping on the left foot again. Reach the arms out. Extension is going to give you balance, right? You're going to extend the right heel forward and draw the right foot toward the floor. You're not touching down. You're going to bring movement to balance. Lift and lower. Lift, lower. 4, lower. 5, lower. Outwardly. Lift and lower. Lift, lower. 3, lower. 4, lower. 5, lower, back, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, and lower. Release, walk it out. This time, I'll give you the side view so you can see me, okay? All right, come back to center, standing tall, extend the arms out for balance, stepping on the right foot. Pick up the left, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, 4, lower, 5, lower to the left, open, lower, lift, lower, 3, lower, 4, lower, 5, lower behind you, lift, lower, 2, lower, 3, lower, 4, lower, 5, lower, release. Walk it out, side to side. All right, so what we're doing today is less yoga asana, yoga posturing, but more movement, right? Mobility, therapy, right, if you will. All right, come back to Tadasana, standing mountain pose, stepping on the left foot. Reach your right foot forward, flex your foot. Let's actually take it slightly wider as well. All right, so we're going to rotate the foot through the heel. So roll the right toes out, roll the right toes forward and in as far as you can go. Roll out, roll in, roll out, roll in, roll out, roll in. One more, roll out, roll in and hold it, rolling in. All right, if you need to extend the arms up for balance, you can do it. Now, are you beginning to feel the hip flexors, right? This internal rotation goes right in here. Right? Right away, as soon as I turned in, it started. All right, release and roll out and hold it. Right? This one, probably for most of us, is not nearly as challenging as the first one. And release, step the right foot down and walk it out side to side. Right, so it's important for us to think about mobility in many different ways, right? It's not just large muscular movement, right? This type of thing, right? It's also this type of thing, right? It's also this type of thing. It's not just this or this. It's also the subtlety, right? Okay. Second side, stepping on the right foot. Reach your left foot forward and out a little bit, right? Flex your foot, right? It's not overly flexed, but it is engaged, okay? So you're going to roll out, roll in, roll out, roll in. 3, roll in. 4, roll in. 5, roll in and stay rolling in. Ooh, right away, right? I'm getting here. I'm going to hold it for a little bit. Right? If it's too much, you back out a little bit. Right? This is an indicator for me. Right? Hip flexors are weak, possibly because I'm rather tight. Right? So certain movements for me in the hips are tight. Other movements are a little bit more open. So this inner rotation thing is always very difficult for me. All right, release and turn out and hold it there. Right? Toes are slightly pulled back and rolling outwardly so that you're extending through that heel. You're feeling for this openness and this rotation right into the hip crease, right? Into the hip joint here. And release, step the left foot down, walk it out side to side. All right, let's take a couple of sun salutations and then we'll start to come down into your pigeon pose, okay? So, standing toward the front of the mat, looking forward in Tadasana, standing mountain pose. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up into a slight back bend. Bend the knees on the exhale. Step the right foot back and come right up into warrior one. Left toes point straight forward, which means the inside of the foot is parallel to the side of the mat. Let the left knee come forward directly over the heel with the vertical shin. Right? With this, you should start to feel the activation of the left quads and the calves. Raising the arms up, extending. Now, if raising the arms right up straight vertically, it's difficult for your shoulders because reaching arms slightly back like this or straight up could be difficult for some of you, right, with tight shoulders. Then you can reach forward instead. If reaching forward parallel to each other, shoulders width is also still tight, you can reach outwardly in a wide position. If that is still tight, you can flip the palms up a little bit and even soften the elbows. For those of you who are very tight in the shoulders, maybe this is where you are, right? Arms out, palms up, elbows bent, right? So that is the most kind of like gentle for your shoulders. But extending will start to add a little bit of something to your shoulders. Palms facing each other into your rotation. Arms closer, right? Even more, arms up, right? That is quite challenging if you're very tight in the shoulders. On the exhale, open up the arms, open up the hips for warrior two. Arms are parallel, palms facing down, reaching opposite directions. You can look forward, you can look back to make sure that they are in place. Then look for the inside of the left foot. If you have the leg in the correct position, you should be able to see the inside of the foot. You should be able to see that the left knee is directly over the heel, vertical line with your shin. That's a good warrior position with your front leg. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, take the hands to the floor, stepping the left foot back and then lower all the way down to the belly. Keep the hands alongside the rib cage. On the inhale, lift the upper back, draw the elbows toward each other, broadening your chest, but also engaging your upper back by kissing your shoulder blades toward each other. So this is a baby cobra with your belly and your ribs to the floor. Press into your hands, lift up a little higher, right? So this time your belly and your ribs away from the floor, elbows still drawn back, upper back still kissing, shoulders are broadening. Lengthen out the arms even more. If you have full extension, take it. If you don't, keep your elbows bent. This is your cobra pose, Bhujangasana. So this is a lower back bend. Notice the higher up you go in the back bend, the lower the back bend takes. All right, bend the elbows, lower all the way down, and then take it to child's pose. Lift the seat, draw the seat toward the heels, and fold forward. This is a nice stretch to your lower back, coming out of the back bend into the forward bend. And start to lift back up to your down dog. Hands are shoulders width, heels are hips width, and let the head release. Step the right foot forward, low lunge. Left foot forward, standing forward bend. So here we are, right? Coming back to the beginning of class, how to stand up out of the forward bend. So your hands on the floor, your knees may be deeply bent, they may be not bent at all, right? So it really depends on where you are. So from the forward fold, keep your hands supporting, then bend the knees maybe halfway or so. It doesn't have to be super deep. Just enough so that you can comfortably support with your hands. Shift your weight back toward your heels. Think about lifting the head and the upper back. So here, you're pretty neutral in the spine already, hopefully. And shift your weight back even more toward the heels. And as you lift up, use the strength of the legs to carry you up. Come back into Tadasana, standing mountain pose. Feet together, knees together. Unless you're very unbalanced there, then keep your feet slightly apart. Inhale, reach your hands forward and up into a slight back bend. Exhale, as you come forward, bend the knees, let the hands come to the floor. Actually, we didn't do it that way. Come back, my fault. We didn't touch down. You could touch down, but we didn't. All right, so let's start again, my fault. All right, inhale, reach your arms forward and up, slight back bend. On the exhale, come back to neutral, bend at the knees, stepping on the right foot, and left foot comes all the way back. Warrior one. So check the front foot. Right foot forward, which means inside the foot, parallel to the side of the mat. Right knee lunging over the heel, vertical line. You should be able to see the inside of the foot. Square the hips forward, arms up to the sky. If you have the mobility, arms are alongside the ears, vertical. You may take the arms slightly forward. You may take the arms a little bit wider. You may flip the palms up. You may even bend your elbows. Right? So this is the easiest one out of all these. All right, let's go backwards. Extend out if you can. Palms facing toward each other if you can. They are parallel to each other if you can. Arms straight to the sky. This is your warrior one. Open it up, warrior two. Arms are parallel, reaching opposite directions. You can look forward and back. Then check that the front knee lines up over the heel. You can see the inside of the foot. Oftentimes, when we go into warrior one into warrior two, the knee gets wonky. I'll give you a front here. Warrior one into warrior two, and then the knee kind of like travels along with the rotation. This is not what you want. This is very vulnerable for the inner knee. So you want to open it back out and line it up over the heel. You should be able to see the inside of the foot. That will bring your knee back into a neutral position. All right, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, right arm up and back. Exhale, hands to the floor, right foot stepping back, plank. And then again, lower all the way down to the belly. Hands alongside the rib cage. Press your hands to your floor. Inhale, lift the upper back. Elbows toward each other. Engage your upper back, broadening your shoulders. Belly and ribs to the floor, baby cobra. Press into your hands. Lift up a little higher. Belly and ribs away from the floor, still engaging the upper back. Lengthen out the arms even more. Full extension if you have it. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Bend the elbows, lower all the way down. And then lift the seat and draw the seat toward the heels for child's pose. Make your way back up to down dog. All right, hands about shoulders width, feet about hips width. All right, let's go into pigeon. Raise your left leg up, three-legged dog. This is to create space. Then as you draw the left knee in, shoulders over your wrists, land the top of the left shin to the floor in a pointed toe position. Left thigh also angles out 30 to 45 degrees with your hands supporting. Inch your right knee further back and untuck the toes. Let the seat get heavy and draw downwards. Walk your hands back and lift the torso. Now, if you're able to take your torso pretty vertically, you might be able to balance here, right? If you set this up right, left knee out to left side, 30 to 45 degrees, you're actually balancing on a triangle. Your hips should feel pretty level. Your spine should feel pretty straight. If you get this right, you should be able to balance, okay? And then walking your hands forward. You can take your arms down. You can make pillows with the hands and rest your forehead, right? So you have many options here. Once you settle in, allow the breath to help you start to quiet down. With your mind's eye, start to look for those spots. I feel like they're pretty tight and that you're working pretty hard. Right? Find those spots and then start to direct breath into those spots. So it's imaginary, right? Think about shooting oxygen, breath, life into those spots that are struggling a little bit, reacting a little bit. And see if using that visualization can help you kind of relax those muscle groups or that area. Right? If you're able to do that, think about then inhaling, expanding, exhaling, sinking into more depth of the pose. Let's take 3 more breaths here. All right. Let's start to finish up. Let the hands come to the floor for support and lift the elbows up. Walk the hands back in a little bit so you're nice and supported. Tuck the back toes under, press into your hands, lift the seat, lift the legs, and walk it back to your down dog. Once you get to your down dog, pedal out the legs, walk it out side to side, right? So if you have weak circulation, right, or really tight hips, you might feel kind of like you have pins and needles, right? And maybe even some coldness running through that left leg, right? So that's just blood circulation, right? So you may have kind of cut off circulation a little bit and weaken the circulation there, right? So now the blood is rushing back through your legs. All right, let's come back to stillness. Second side. Raise your right leg up, and that is to create space. Draw the right knee in. Shift your shoulders over your wrists. Point the right toes and rotate your right shin. So you should be standing on the right shin with your hands supporting. Inch your left knee as far back as you can so you can lower also your seat a little bit. Untuck the toes. And walk your hands back and draw the torso back. If you did this right, you should feel pretty balanced here. Pelvis pretty level, spine is pretty vertical, and maybe you don't even need your hands for support. Once you have that, walk your hands forward. Again, you can be in your forearms, you can make pillows with the hands and rest your forehead. And start to settle into your pigeon. And again, investigate with your mind's eye. Those spots that feel particularly tight, and more challenging, more rigorousness, right? You have to work a little bit harder at those spots. Well, breathe into those spots. Direct breath. So if you haven't done so already, I really encourage you to kind of visualize how to direct your breath. Really seek out those spots where you feel particular sensation. And then sink into those spots with your breath. I'll give you about 3 more breaths here. Alrighty, let's start to break. Release your hands to the floor, lift the elbows up. Walk your hands in a little bit so you're nice and supported. Tuck the left toes under. Press into your hands, lift the body up, step the right foot back. And pedal out the legs. Walk it out side to side. All right, so use these movements to bring circulation back. Alrighty, when you're ready, walk your feet forward towards your hands. Bend the knees, supporting with the hands. Take the feet down, extend the legs forward. Then with your hands to either side, and this is important, right? Especially for those of you who may be experiencing some lower back pains or you feel vulnerable. So you want to use your hands and slide the hands out. This helps you carry some of the weight of your torso, right? So then it's easier for you to come onto your back, right? So that's what you want. Take the left arm out to the side, draw the left knee toward the chest, and then twist to the right. So with the right hand to outer left leg, apply a little bit of pressure and roll to the outer right leg, outer right hip for your twist. Take it back to center. Switch legs, switch arms, and twist to the left. And take it back to center again. Hug both knees in. And then when you're ready, step the feet to the floor. Slide the legs forward, separating your feet, toes turned out. Arms alongside the body, palms face up. Let it all go, Shavasana, further relaxation. Begin to connect to your breath, moving your fingers and your toes. Reach the arms overhead, stretching in opposite direction. When you're ready, roll over to the right and come up to a comfortable cross-legged position. As you need to come back to your blocks or to your blankets, please elevate. So you want an easy cross-legged position here. Inhale from. Hands together in prayer. Bowing forward, sealing in the practice. Inhale, come up. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Thank you for your time. Please visit my website, simhayoga.com, for the full streaming schedule, as well as my payment information for Venmo and for PayPal. Venmo is my preferred way of payment, and my handle is Simha Yoga Lab. And the 4-digit ID code, if you're prompted for it for verification, is 8096. Classes are $10, and if you're having a difficult time right now, $5 is fine. Please do the best you can. And please share with your friends that classes are happening. Let people know. Practice together. I am streaming on Instagram and on Facebook, and then I'm uploading these videos onto YouTube. And my YouTube channel is Simha Yoga Lab. So visit any of those platforms anytime for your practice and enjoy. Okay, so thank you for your time. Be well. Take care. I will see you soon.